evening, everyone. Welcome to our workshop tonight. This workshop is brought to you by Signature Market. We host monthly online and also offline workshop to promote the concept of conscious living. Yeah, once again, thank you everyone for tuning in today. And yeah, it's me again. I'm Aries, and I will be your host for tonight's workshop. Okay, so before we start, I'm gonna brief you about our housekeeping rules. So first thing, please keep your mic on mute throughout the session so there's no interruption. And secondly, we suggest everyone to kindly turn on your video so you get to participate fully and we also get to know who are you, okay? And let's say if you have any question throughout the session, feel free to leave them in the chat box and we'll address them in the Q&A session later. Okay, so yeah, tonight is about mental health for youths. So if you have been our regular workshop participants, you will know that we always do workshops about mental health. But this time it's slightly different. Is this time we focus more on the youths, okay? Not just adult, but the youths. And yeah, just wonder how many parents do we have tonight? Okay, so just want to do a quick check. So if you are joining as a parent, yeah, leave a one. Yeah, type a one in the chat box and let me know. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, we have a lot of parents coming in. Oh wow. Okay, so if you are joining as a youth yourself or as a friend, as an auntie, uncles, or teachers, leave a two in the chat box. Anyone? Oh, okay. We do have as well. Okay. Yeah, okay. Just want to give you guys an acknowledgement for coming in because, yeah, you guys want to learn more about the importance of mental health. Yeah, it's not just for adults, it's also very important to pay attention to the younger generation's mental well-being as well. Yeah, so yeah, thank you so much. And tonight, we are very honored to have Dr. Vincent Chen again, yeah, back here with Signature Market to conduct this workshop as well. If you have joined our workshop like 2 years ago, yeah, then you will know who is Dr. Vincent. Yeah. So for those who just joined in tonight, who is just new, I will briefly introduce who is Dr. Vincent. All right. Okay. So Dr. Vincent is a household name in the Malaysian education scene. So previously, he's a former psychiatry registrar, and currently he's the principal of IB International School in Malaysia. Yeah, I just want to talk about his achievement as well. That includes the Lifetime Achievement Awards in Education by KSI. And he also won the Best IB School in Malaysia Award for 2020 to 2022 and also leading an award-winning skill development program called Toolbox. And yeah, Dr. Winston actually has this dynamic, clear, and also practical way of speaking. So yeah, that's why he really engage and also captivates his audience really well. And yeah, through delivering thought-provoking and also life-changing experience at any event. Okay, so I guess everyone can't wait, yeah, to learn more from Dr. Vincent. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Vincent.
Thanks, Aries. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Let's start this. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome, and thank you again, Signature Market, for this opportunity to speak once again to your community. I'm going to share a little bit about something that's really close to my heart, mental health issues. And being a former psychiatry registrar, this is a big thing for me. And I really came back to education so I could address this issue. So let's get started straight away. I'm going to go through four main areas. Okay. First of all, what's the problem? And I say, what's your problem as parents? Because it really is our problem today. The second one is what makes parenting so hard today and what's stopping us and what's causing all of these issues? What are some failed methods of tackling it? Then what can you do about it? And how do you take action? So we'll go through these four things and let's get going. Okay, so first of all, what is the problem as parents? The reality is that kids today are more unwell now than ever. In '96, so Malaysian statistics are really hard to get a hold of about mental unwellness because really, I think we criminalize the issue. Suicide in Malaysia is a criminal act. So let's say I tried to commit suicide. First of all, I'd get chastised by my society, and next the police would handcuff me and take me away, just to make things worse while we're at it. In 96, 10% or 11%, about 10.2% of our population and our youth population had mental health disorder. This is the recorded number. And it went up to about 11.2% over in 2006, 10 years later. In 2015, that number was 39% in the Klang Valley when we subset. So you can see there's a massive difference between 11% and 39%. That was in 2015. That was quite some time ago. In the US, we're looking at numbers like 40% of children saying that they feel hopeless, up from, say, 30% about, say, 6 to 8 years ago, based on some of the research, the large-scale research that they have over there. On top of that, suicide rates are up. And this is a particularly scary one. Now, we don't have youth suicide rates because nobody drew the data properly for us. But we do know, as a general rule, between 2020 and 2022, suicide rates went up by 81% as a general population. And that is a massive spike up that we've not seen before. Maybe it's correct reporting. I don't know what the answer to that is. What I do know is the number has gone up tremendously. And if you connect that dot with the amount of mental health challenges our children are facing, it's quite a scary link to start making. Furthermore, everything that we've looked at in terms of data tells us that we're not doing any better since COVID ended. Children today and children 2 years ago, in the middle of COVID, they're not saying that they've improved just because COVID ended. It seemed like COVID hit us really hard, and it's left a lasting scar on many of us. And finally, and this is my favorite, our current method of managing mental well-being is reactive and ineffective. And I see this right across the board. So I'll give you the analogy which should really help this. If you have a car and you waited till the car broke down before you ever sent it to the workshop, your car wouldn't last for 5 years. Now, but that's exactly what we do with our children. We put our children into programs, school, whatever it is. We work them really hard, or we let them go through life. They break, and then we send them to go get fixed by a counselor or a psychologist or something or other, and then we send them right back into it again. And that's the reactive sort of pattern that we've been using. I've seen it happen in many, many international schools, and I'm pretty sure it's prevalent absolutely everywhere. In fact, the entire mental health system is built around this concept. There's very little in the way of proactivity. Okay, so we're going to run a poll now. Aries, if you don't mind just starting off the poll for all of our viewers, you will have time to fill this out, don't worry. So the big question is, why is it so hard to handle mental health challenges? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of the reasons. Let's just see whether you connect with it, okay? So what makes parenting so hard today? One, social media. My kids, I got 4 boys, and my kids listen to TikTok way more than they listen to me. Secondly, our parents keep saying things like, oh, in my day, I used to walk to school. Well, I'm sorry, but in this day, I don't know any parent that's going to let their kid walk to school right now. And the reality is that things are not as safe as they were before. There is a lot of pressure to be the perfect parent in today's world, and not just a good parent, to be the perfect parent, because of the amount of narrative that's lying around. I mean, the fact that you're in this session tells me that you want to find out more, but that's also a side effect of a lot of this information coming through and pressure from peers. Oh, this is the best thing to do. This is a new thing to do, so on and so forth. Then there's also work-life balance. And with the economic times being so challenging and more challenging times coming ahead, it's really tough to actually balance family, work, personal. Technological advances. I screen time my kid the other day, and within 2 weeks, he managed to break my screen time. And all they have to do is just type into YouTube how to break screen time. And that's it. It's crazy. Rising cost of living and education. Things are just more expensive than ever before. Sorry to say, but I think in Malaysia, one of the surefire ways that a lot of parents believe that they're going to get a decent quality of education is to send them to private education. That's where I am. And It's a lot of money, from as low as 24,000 up to 140,000 a year. And most people can't afford this. This is going to add to that whole work-life balance problem. Community support, we are more nuclear than ever. And this is really difficult. Either your parents are far away or you just don't have time to get to them for support anymore. Information overload. Oh my gosh, there's so much information flying at us, from social media to blogs to other people telling us stuff to ChatGPT. How do we handle all of this stuff? Screen time is another killer for parenting, really gives us a hard time. And knowing about mental health issues doesn't mean that you can diagnose, and sometimes we can go really, really wrongly with this. So these are all the many ideas that I can come up with that really give us a hard time as a parent. I'm going to go to the poll and see, where does the whole thing sit? What do you guys voted? Okay, so in terms of the poll results, we are looking at 80% is social media. Everybody thinks social media is the big one that causes problem. Our next winner is work-life balance. It's giving parents a lot of challenge. Rising cost of education runs, social media is at 80%, work-life balance is at 65%, rising cost is at 54%. So yeah, absolutely. I thoroughly agree with this as well, because these are some of the stuff I personally face as well. Okay, I'm going to move forward. We're not here to just talk about doom and gloom. Most of us already know this anyways. So what are some failed methods that I've seen people try and do this? So I'm going to do this really fast. One, I see a lot of parents just go head to head with their kids, yell and shout, and needless to say, all you do is destroy a relationship that you could potentially have. And once you sever that relationship, you're not going to be able to build anything with your child, because they don't trust you anymore. Another beautiful one I keep hearing from parents is, we got to toughen them up, put them through challenges. My job as a parent is to make them tough so they can survive in the world. Well, I'm sorry, but particularly for girls, if you toughen people up, then the person that they're going to turn to when things get difficult, and things are going to get difficult, and they're going to need somebody to turn to, it's not going to be you. All right. We always need help. Nobody's too tough nowadays. So the toughening up strategy doesn't really work. Another beautiful one, keep them busy. I know some parents who send their children to 7 enrichment classes in a week, and they just keep them so crazy busy that they don't think about anything else. Well, we're not dealing with the issue. If your child's got issues, mental well-being wise, and all you do is just fire them away at keeping them occupied with football, music classes, and so on and so forth, we're not dealing with issues, and it will blow up later on. This one's nice. If I don't talk about it, it'll go away. It's a passing phase. I hear that all the time. Yeah, that one doesn't work either, because it's basically you're teaching your children that what they're saying or how they're feeling isn't important. And you're teaching them that it's more important to repress those feelings than to deal with them. This is my personal favorite. The school will handle it. I pay a lot of money to international schools. They should be able to help my children become great people. No, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, no matter how good your teachers are, your child's number one child's number one role model influence is you, the parent. It's never going to change. Never has. So yes, please remain consistent with that role modeling. The other one that people do when they have really tough time, the counselor can handle it. Counselors are great, psychologists are great. They do a lot of good work out there, but you see them, the kid sees them maybe for an hour, maybe 2 hours in 2 weeks. It's not going to make that powerful impact that you're going to have if you can do the right things. And I'm going to share with you what those are going to be. Finally, send them to a workshop, send them to an enrichment class. Yes, this is interesting, but I highlight the workshop particularly because I have a pet peeve about this. If you send somebody to a workshop and it finishes on Sunday, in 72 hours time, and that's Wednesday, they would have lost 98% of whatever they heard. All right, this is the law of forgetfulness. If you don't rehearse it or reinforce it, within 72 hours, you lose almost all of it. They'll be lucky if they can remember their friend's name. So these one-time rah-rah workshops, they just don't work. You might as well donate your money to charity. Oh yeah. So enough about that arena. Let's focus on what can you do about it, because that's what we're all really here for. I'm going to give you 4 basic things, and these aren't difficult things, very practical, actionable things you can do right now. Okay. The first one is about friends. The second one is about family. The third one is about exercise and nutrition. And the fourth one is purpose. All right, let's get to it. So first of all, friends. In all of my time in international school, there's one thing I learned. Kids don't come to school because I'm teaching them amazing stuff. They come to school because of their friends. Friends are an important, integral part to every child. And they would happily sacrifice me if they could spend more time with their friends. The research, there's this wonderful piece of research called the Mental Health Million Project. And it's essentially one of the largest large-scale research projects with millions of children across the world. And what they found is that people aren't that different. And this is the interesting one. If your child has 4 to 6 close friends versus 0 friends, they are 3 times less likely to feel that they are distressed. I'm going to let that sink in. If your child has 4 to 6 friends, 5 friends, versus another child with 0 friends, they are 3 times less likely to feel distressed. And on top of that, when they answer the survey about how well do I feel, they will score 3.5 times better on it, just by having 5 friends. Isn't that crazy? Friendship is one of the most important things in any child's life. Yet, I really wonder, how much time do we spend teaching our children how to make and keep friends? I know when I was growing up, I had no idea how to keep and make friends. You know, there are some real basics out there. And by the way, I'm not going to go through this because you can Google search this stuff in 2 seconds. It's really, really not hard. But the key idea, help your child make friends. 1, teach them how to make friends. There's a ton of YouTube videos about how to make friends. You can just watch that with them. And 2, create opportunities for your child to make friends. Invite your child's friends out for a football session or a dinner. Say you'll pay for their meal or something like that. Create these opportunities and help your child make those friendships. And you're going to see a massive effect just from friends alone. The second thing that you can do, and this also comes from the same project, is provide a stable. Now, stable means emotionally stable. So we're not talking about screaming and shouting in the house, no divorce, no stomping around the house, as in walking away from each other kind of thing. Stable, okay? Supportive is the opposite of judgmental, all right, or dismissive as well. It's the opposite of that. So support means I support you in what you are doing. Warm and loving come together. Warm and loving would be things like, do you say I love you enough to your child? Do you put your hand gently on their face and say, I love you very much? Do you know that? I hope you don't ever forget that. You give them lots and lots of hugs and kisses. You know, we're really good at doing this sort of thing when they're 0 to 5, but after that, it seems like we kind of reduce steadily because we're a bit squeamish or something. But your child needs to know that you love them, otherwise they forget. And the research is so strong on this. It's very similar to the friendships. If children come from that stable, supportive, warm, and loving homes, they are more than 3 times less likely to have mental health challenges. Can you see it? It's very, very obvious. Help your kids get some friends, have a good, stable, warm home. Now, the fun part is, if you've been listening so far, it's 3 times more for friendships and 3 times more for family. But if a child comes from a home that's both that's warm and they've got 5 friends at the same time, they are 10 times less likely to have a mental health issue. There's actually a bit of a synergistic effect going on over there. So it's so simple. Don't scream at home. Don't yell at your kids. Be supportive, encouraging, help them make some friends. And a lot of the work's already done for you. So that's the first two. Next one, exercise and good nutrition. Now, I've got 4 boys, and I know for a fact that my kids need to move. Can you imagine as an adult, and let's try this analogy, and picture yourself as a parent, okay? Not as a parent, as an adult. If I told you you had to sit in this one chair for 6 hours in a day and you can't move from this chair, and every time you want to go to the toilet, you got to raise your hand and say, can I please go to the toilet? Would you go crazy if I did that to you for 13 years of your life? I think you would go nuts. And yet this is exactly what we do to our children, every one of them. And we get concerned that they are not sitting down in class for some reason. It is insane. Children are not meant to be stuck on a chair, not moving for 6 hours in a day. But that's the reality of the industrial education system that we have today. So the recommendations really are at least an hour of light exercise every day. Now, light exercise is just walking around, being outside and playing with the bees and digging up insects and stuff like that. That's okay. For boys, personally, I like to work them until they fall flat on the floor, exhausted. Then I know they had a good exercise. Before that, I think they still got a bit of energy left to go. So I burn them a little bit harder. But get your kids moving around every single day, and don't let them sit down too much. Now, there's 2 sides to this coin, though. There's get them to exercise, and then there's the sedentary aspect, which is don't let them slouch around too much. And both of them have slightly different effects. So sedentary behavior, try and reduce that to about 4 hours a day tops. Now, sedentary behavior is lying down on the couch and watching TV nonstop, or the iPad, or whatever it is. As long as you're sitting, doing not very much, playing computer games or lying on the couch watching TV, that's all sedentary stuff. So try and minimize that as much as you can. We know for a fact that we already hit 6 hours in school. So for most of us in classic traditional education, your kids are going to be sedentary for at least 6 hours in a day already. So we need to work on this and make sure that they get moving for the rest of the day that you've got them. Now, furthermore, let's go from exercise into good nutrition. This is the other very simple thing to do. There is a large body of research that's beginning to come up very nicely now that focuses on the link between good nutrition, or just nutrition, and mental health. It's a very specific body of study. And they're churning out really good evidence to show that what you eat doesn't just affect your health, it affects the way that you feel at the same time. Things like probiotic bacteria as well. So I've just summarized only a couple of things here. I'm not going to list the whole thing, otherwise it'll be far too large, but you can research this stuff pretty easily. Whole foods. So those people who like luncheon meat, that's no. Nuggets is a processed food, so please don't do that. Fish fingers from the frozen section, that's all processed food. So we're talking about whole foods here, please. Take a chicken and cook it. All right, so whole foods, lots of fiber. Fiber really helps a lot. Antioxidants. Get some nuts from Signature Kitchen. I think they have a trail pack, which is really good. That will work really well. Hey, shout out. Omega-3 is great. People have known that omega-3 directly affects depression rates, even better than antidepressants in some circumstances. So omega-3 is a big win. Vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is the vitamin you get from standing in the sun. So there's a link between the exercise and the sun and your mental health here. So you can start to see the link starting to form. Magnesium is not a very commonly spoken about one, but magnesium is one of those very small trace minerals that catalyzes a lot of functions in your body. And if you can get enough magnesium in, it can really stimulate your child's ability to think and feel better for themselves. And fermented foods. So we're talking about probiotics here. We're talking about things like nami, the red yeast as well. Those are pretty good. So you can go to Yu Yang Sang and buy red yeast pellets, and those also do the same thing. Okay. So finally, there's a fourth thing that I'd suggest that you can do about this as well. What can you do about mental health and helping your child? And that's the concept of purpose. Now, the research on purpose has been really, really powerful for the last 1.5 decades. And there's so much good evidence now that confirms that having a great sense of purpose, having a sense of purpose improves so many things across every age range, from very young all the way to very old. So it does things like it improves your positive emotions. It improves your self and your future image, obviously. It improves things like hope, positive mood, resilience. Now, every one of these, you can find this sort of research to back it up off the internet. There's really a lot of good quality research that's coming out in this arena now. It also, on top of improving your mood, it also reduces negative emotions like depression, generally negative mood, and delinquency. That's been proven. And it has proven physical effects as well, performance effects, and it helps people live longer as well. So having a sense of purpose is extremely powerful in this scenario. And I strongly encourage that a lot of children start allocating time to try and figure this out. I know a lot of people at the age of 45 who start this question, and then they spend the next 10 years of their life trying to figure it out. And it's too late because the best time of their life is over. So I'd encourage that parents consider starting this process young. And even though you won't manage to help them find a sense of purpose at the age of 5, well, maybe they want to be a fireman, but we can entertain that for a little bit. As we go along, they will begin to slowly narrow down into what they want to do. But we have to start that conversation early, not when they are 40 years old. Yeah. So in summary, there are 4 main things that we can do to help our children with mental well-being. 1, help them make at least 5 close friends. Okay. Secondly, providing that stable, supportive, warm, and loving family environment. Third, exercise and good nutrition, at least an hour of exercise. And I've given you a list of things that people should be eating, and it's a really simple list. And finally, help your child find that sense of purpose. There's a ton of good evidence that connects between purpose and mental well-being. So I'm going to delve a little bit into the purpose conversation because that one is not quite as straightforward. Okay. Generally, there are three ways that people use to find their purpose. And I'm going to share this with you. Some of them are, we're going to talk about reliability and which one you can actually take action on, because some things are not very, well, they have got a low chance of success. So the first way to find your purpose is to have a life-changing, inspiring moment. Now, these include things like a near-death experience, a super inspiring moment that happens to you. Unfortunately, these don't come around every day. So this is not a very reliable strategy. If it happens, hooray and hurrah, but it's for a lot of us, it's a long wait. So it's a little bit of a difficult strategy, this one. So, yeah, so the wait for a life-changing moment to inspire is a little bit of a tough one here. Let me check. Okay, so the second one we're going to go for is, wait, move on, next one. Okay, community. So it's really true what they say. You are the sum total of the top 10 people you spend your time around. If you spend a lot of time with 10 gangsters, guess what's going to happen to your attitude after a while? That's just the way that we work. And this strategy, if you want to find your purpose, you hang around with 10 people who have found their purpose. Excuse me. The problem with this strategy is you have to find 10 people who found their purpose first. And that can be a little bit difficult because I don't know about you, but walking around and asking people, have you found your purpose? Generally doesn't yield the best results because most people haven't even started at this conversation. So if you found it, if you've got a great group of people who have found their sense of purpose, hooray and hurrah. But if you haven't, pursuing this strategy might be a little bit on the challenging side as well. Okay, there's a third way. proactively go hunting for it. Now, this includes a category of going for workshops, learning stuff, reading books, watching videos, trying out new experiences like volunteering in Africa or internships at McDonald's. And this is really about going out there and constantly trying and trying and trying and taking action on this. This is probably the most reliable method to use. It does take some time to get there. And I don't have any statistics to tell you how many people actually arrive there, because nobody's ever done that before, this research before. But I can share with you anecdotally from experience, like those who go around looking for purpose tend to find it. It's really like, let me give you a good example. Before I was married, when I went to the shopping complex, I never saw a stroller. I just didn't see them. Now that I'm married and I have kids, when I go to the shopping complex, I see strollers everywhere. When you start looking for things, your mind starts, when you commit to looking for things, your mind starts seeing things. And if you start looking for a sense of purpose, your mind will start picking up the clues a lot better than when you didn't start looking for it. Okay. Now, this is a suggestion on what we can do to find our sense of purpose. This diagram on this piece of information comes from a very well-known author called Jim Collins. Now, he wrote this wonderful book called Good to Great, and he calls this the hedgehog concept. All right, let me break it down for you. So the hedgehog concept comes from a story. There was a hedgehog and there was a fox. And one day the hedgehog and fox had a little bit of a fight. The fox tried to bite the hedgehog, but the hedgehog did whatever it does. It rolled up into a ball with all of its prickly spikes sticking out. Now, the hedgehog can't do many things. It can't run around. It's not very creative. It doesn't have many options. It just does one thing and one thing really well: roll up into a ball and don't let anybody bite me because I got spikes. Whereas the fox, very cunning, he jumped around, he tried to roll the guy over, he bit a piece of wood and hit the hedgehog with it. He was sniffing all over. He was very creative, trying all sorts of things. And at the end of the day, the fox lost. And the reason is, you can't beat a person that has focused to do one thing right when they know that they can do that thing well. You just can't. And that's a lot about the hedgehog concept here. When we focus on doing one thing that we are good at well and do it beyond other things and really, really focus there, we will do amazingly well. That's the hedgehog concept. Now, to take this into practice is very simple. Basically, you see that the 3 circles over there. You take a paper with your child, and you draw 3 circles, okay? Overlap them just like this Venn diagram here. In the first circle 1, you write down, what are you really passionate about? So what do you really, really like? So I'll use my oldest son as an example. He loves Minecraft and Roblox. So he likes some computer games. He likes the thrill and the competition. So I write competition in there. He likes being able to create things. He also likes football. So I put that down. So I write down all the things that he really likes. And these need to be things that are indicative of his core values. Okay. I'm going to just touch a little bit on values. Now, what are you deeply passionate about really is connected to who are you. Each person can be defined in terms of their core values. At the topmost level, we see the culture of each individual, the manifestation, the behavior of whatever's inside. And we call this the outward maybe actions of the person. Some people call it culture. But culture really is distilled into a set of beliefs. And if you want to really distill it down and break it down, each person has a core set of beliefs. For example, I must be filial. It's a very Chinese belief, so it's mine. And I have many other beliefs like that. For example, that everybody should be self-sufficient, or that I need to think carefully and intellection is important to me. So these are core values. And if you break it down further, you will be able to arrive at a single word. And these are values. So for me, it's intellection. I value intellection a lot, and I value self-sufficiency. And at the core of each individual are values. Now, you could run a values exercise with your child where you ask them to talk about what values are really important to them. There's something called the value sorting exercise. I haven't put it over here, but it's a very easy exercise. You can Google search online and find it. It's basically look at a list of values and write down the top 10 and then organize it in terms of 1 to 10. That's really, really all it is. All right. And with that, you take a look at the values and you see what are they really good at? What do they really like? The first circle that we're looking at in the hedgehog concept is really about what do they feel strongly about? What beliefs do they hold dear? Okay. So you write all that stuff down in circle number 1. Then you go into circle number 2. What are you genetically encoded for? Now, I'm really interested in badminton, but genetically I'm terrible at it. So badminton is not going to arrive in my second box. In my second box, I probably write down things like, what are my core strengths? Now, there's a concept called strengths-based thinking, where we spend too much time trying to fix our weaknesses, whereas instead we really should be focusing on our strengths and leveraging them to go even higher. I'll give you a classic example. As a principal, I am really bad with paperwork. I'm not good at doing the documentation and the paperwork and monitoring things. I am really great at talking to people and inspiring people and thinking creatively and strategically. If I focused all of my time on the monitoring processes, which I wouldn't ever say it's a bad thing, it's still important, but if I focus all my time there and try to be better at that, I would never gain the impact that I could have gained if I focused on becoming a better speaker, a more inspiring person, a person who's able to understand people better and coach them better. I would do exceedingly well in this arena, whereas I would get substandard results if I tried to do monitoring better. Yes, learn how to fix your weaknesses to a certain point. But then after that, work on your strengths to get even better. And that's called strengths-based thinking. And what we put in circle number 2 are usually what strengths do we have? Now, there's a number of tests you can do online for free. There's so many available resources out there today. Literally search VIA strengths, VIA strengths. Can somebody help me just type that into the chat box for our list, our participants? VIA strengths. If you just type that into Google, you'll be able to come up with this wonderful, internationally created and supported strengths-based website. And they do a wonderful job of teaching you about what are your strengths. They have a youth version as well, which is fantastic. So you write down your strengths in there and then put in things like do a personality test. What is your personality like? We have this thing called Myers-Briggs, which is a very ancient profiler. It talks about introversion and extroversion. Do that and then put that information here in number 2 as well. So understand what strengths you have and what personality you have and put down things there that you are naturally gifted for. For example, I have the gift of gab, so I'm going to put that down there as well. So write down all these things, okay, in circle number 2. And finally, in circle number 3, you put there, what are you engaged in that is of social and economic value? I'll turn this into an easier sentence for you. What problem in the world today do you mind solving? Now, this is a great question that I ask my children all the time. And I tell it to them like this. We earn money in today's society because we solve a problem. If I'm a janitor, the problem that I solve is the floor is dirty. When I solve that problem, people pay me money. And that's the basis of every job there is out there. Every time we do a job, there is a problem that we're trying to solve. Now, the bigger the problem you solve, the more money you get. It's that simple. And the biggest problems there are today, you know where to find it? It's on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. These are the biggest problems that we have in the world today. If you want to do marketing research about what are the biggest problems that you can solve, that you can earn the most from, it's right there. So I always tell my kids, solve a big problem and you're going to get big money. If you really want to earn lots of money, the answer is very simple. The bigger the problem you solve, the more the rewards you're going to get. People that chase down professions just to get a salary, I think that was an old way of thinking that doesn't really work in the generation going forward anymore. So try to put down something, what big problems would you like to solve? And again, the easiest thing you can do with your kid is go through the UN SDGs and talk them through it and say, does this sound like a big problem to you? Does this sound like a big problem? So on and so forth. And then they will start to get an idea of what are the problems the world has. And this conversation is very easily had with your child. Now, to fill up all three circles, what I would suggest is draw it out and don't fill it up within one day. It takes a little bit of time. Do it as a family activity. Do a strengths test together and then laugh about how your strengths are different from my strengths. Do a personality test with your kids and then laugh about it and have a bit of fun. Do a value sorting exercise and then have a bit of fun with your kids, and then talk about the UN SDGs, watch a video with them or something, and have this conversation slowly with them. And you'll be able to begin to slowly form that picture. It's not something you do in one day. It'll take you a couple of weeks to do it. I suggest do it steadily over a couple of dinners. Okay. So to summarize, really, what can you do about helping your children get that mental well-being? One, help them with their close friends. Help them build those friendships. Two, provide that warm, stable family environment for them. Three, exercise and good nutrition. And four, purpose. Now, just notice, I did not include anything in here like manage to get an award in school, scoring really well academically, because there is no research that actually links that and well-being. There's nothing confirming that academic success has any bearing on mental well-being. There's just no evidence to support that. That probably supports your mental well-being, but it doesn't do very much for your children. It may seem like it, but it doesn't. So just note, others might criticize that this is not a list where my child is going to be the world's best piano player. And it isn't really. This is focused on how we're going to have our children be happier and healthier mentally. But I guarantee you with this little caveat though, I haven't met now I'm in my 40s, and I haven't met a single successful person who is mentally unwell. But by successful, I mean people who have money and are doing amazing things with it happily. Those people who have money, but they are not mentally well, they tend not to last very long. They'll blow up or self-destruct along the way. So mental wellness is very closely linked to success at life. It's not a substitute. It's the preconditions. And I'll give you one more story just before I wrap up in this section. When I started the IB diploma back in 2012, we started with the best teachers money could buy. And we brought in 10 A-star students from all the local schools around. And we thought with such an amazing bunch of people, we would surely get amazing results. Now in the IB diploma, there's a score. It's 0 to 45. 45 is the top score. It's very hard to get that. And 30 is about the midline. That's where the pass line is. And we were like, yes, we're going to get an amazing top score. We're going to work them really hard. We're going to push them hard. We're going to run them lots of revision questions, and we're going to do lots and lots of tutorials. And we've brought in the best teachers and the best students. Surely this is the perfect mix. Our average in the first year was 32 out of 45. It was terrible. We were shocked with the amount of work that we just put in. We thought, hey, let's just push a little bit harder. Push. More tuition classes, more tutorials, more revision work. Next year, our average was 33, even more embarrassing after all the effort we put in. In the year after that, we focused on the concept called family. It was such a cheesy word to use. We used the word family. We taught our kids how to take care of one another and be kind and warm and loving to one another. I remember my coordinator told me that she was going to vomit if she had to say that word from her mouth because it was so corny. But eventually we did it. And after a year, the result went from 33 to 35 within 1 year. And in the next year, we went up to 36 and then 37. And then 37 is when we won our first Best in Malaysia award. Then we went up to 38 and now we're at 38. And what this goes to show you, and I learned this the hard way, is sending my children, my IB diploma students in Fairview for more revision, more tutorials, hiring better, more expensive tutors doesn't give them success. It did not. And I paid the price for that for 2 years. And the children paid the price for that. But giving them a warm, supportive environment where there was family, where there was friendship, where they felt loved for who they are, where we let them exercise and run around. We actually ran activities to have the kids run around instead of sitting in the classroom all the time. We actually ran workshops to help kids find their purpose as well. By doing that, now we're the best IB school in the country for 3 years in a row, and nobody's managed to match us by a long shot. Right. So that's a summary of that. And I'd like to share with you what happens after this. Now, I've told you before, I've shared with everybody here that just sending your children for a workshop for 3 days, 2 days, and then rah, chances are your kid's going to forget everything after 72 hours. That's the reality of life. Okay. What you need to do is to actually do something that's long-term. Short-term weekends, that doesn't work. Okay, so here's what we're going to suggest to you. Well, this is what I'm going to suggest to you. I started an organization called SALT, and the purpose of that is to help youth find their voice. And this was a very challenging arena because nobody talks about helping children find their purpose. In fact, I don't really know how many adults have ever gone through a program to find their purpose either. But it's very, there's very little conversation about this. So we started an organization, me and a couple of people, to help children find their purpose. And let me share with you a little bit about it. SALT believes in 4 core things. 1, that we don't need to change people. They need to be authentic. We need to help them discover the greatness that they were born with. 2, that community is really important. Remember that friendship piece? It all links up very nicely. 3, that we want to make an impact, that there's no point talking about theory if there's no impact that's associated with it. And finally, agency. We want people to be able to find their own voice, not have a voice, have a sense of purpose drilled onto their heads. We have 3 founders, and I'd love to introduce them to you. The first is Dr. Janice Chan. She's a director at the international school, and she heads the pastoral department, and she's a mother to 4 mischievous boys and is a certified coach as well. Myself, I'm the principal, and I've been doing mental well-being for the last 14 years. My other sidekick as well, my other partner in crime is Miss Michelle Lam. She's also a youth coach, a certified youth coach, and she's also been an educator for 22 years. And she's a marketer and a mother of 2. So we've all got experience in the parenting department. So it's a couple of facts. I've shared with you a couple of things already, but 1, teens are under more stress than ever before. There's really a lot of things that are hurting our children today that the previous generations never even imagined came their way. And it's really badly managed in schools right now. So this is our solution. What we would do is SALT helps children find their voice. By voice, we mean purpose. We help them find their voice. And then it's not just enough for them to find their voice once and lose it. We also help them to turn those dreams into solid plans, because a great idea is just an idea until you convert it into an actionable set of steps. And that's what we call a plan. And then we walk along with them for the next 6 months, a year, 2 years, by coaching them in a group. How do we do this? We've done this for 4 years already. This is not a new thing that we're doing. We've had over 1,200 people go through the program. 76% of our children achieve 2 out of 3 goals. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know many adults who can even say they've achieved 1 goal a year. So for 76% of all of these children to say that they have achieved 2 out of their 3 goals is amazing. On top of that, they achieve academic increases without ever touching a textbook, and 84% of our participants highly recommend the program. What we do in one of the magic things that we do in the program to help our children find their sense of purpose is we help them find their shape. We teach them about what are their special gifts, what values do they hold dear, what abilities do they have. By abilities, I mean strengths. And then we help them identify things like their personalities as well. And these, we believe, are all clues to what is their purpose. We run two things to help them. The first is we do a 2-day workshop called Light the Way. And essentially, we begin the process of them figuring out the clues. They're starting to put the puzzle together for the first 2 days. Okay. And once they put this together, then we put it into a little mini plan. And then they continue on to the second step, which we call either Sparks or Shine. Now, Shine is one-to-one, and Sparks is a group coaching mechanism. That's all. That's the only difference between those two. So step one, find your purpose. Step two, keep walking towards it as we coach you there. It's that simple. So this is the Light the Way workshop camp. We've run this this is just some pictures that we did. We did this in Port Dickson recently. We've done it in a few locations so far. And we believe that everybody has a purpose, that a purpose is already there waiting for you to find it, that all of us have greatness waiting for us. We just need to look for it. And the clues are staring at us in the face. We just need to start looking at it. And the clues are things like, well, what gifts do you have? These are all the clues to what your great purpose is. What personality do you have? These are all the wonderful clues. And we help them find that and then piece it together. Sometimes it doesn't happen in the 2 days. 2 days is really fast to find a sense of purpose, but at least we get them started on the process, and then we repeat and repeat and repeat. And I guarantee you, when you keep doing this again and again, even though you don't catch it the first time, after the second or third time, you'll definitely begin to arrive somewhere. We then run Sparks and Shine. Now, Shine is our individualized coaching program. For some people, they just need that intensive one-to-one experience. So we have a coach that we train and certify on how to do this, meet with students one-on-one and work through their goals and help them go through it. And we identify things like limiting beliefs. What's stopping you from getting to your goals? Is this really an issue? What's the problem here? Is it your fear of rejection, your fear of not being enough, fear of unworthiness? What is it that's stopping you? And because we create this safe space around all of our experiences, the children are really ready to open. I've learned a couple of tricks over the years about how to work with children. And the number one trick that I've learned is if you can create a safe environment where they know that you're not going to judge them, where you hold their information in confidence, and when you really listen to them, they will open up to you in amazing sort of ways. And on top of that, if you create an environment where their peers are doing that for them, that is magic happening. And that's what we call Sparks. Because in Sparks, we put a group of kids who are all heading towards their purpose together. Imagine 5 guys that are going to achieve amazing things in life, come together and then walk together in this journey. And this creates a wonderful synergistic effect. Remember I said, you are the sum of the top 10 people you spend time with. Well, if you're in Sparks, 7 of those people are all heading towards their purpose. And whether they fail a couple of times or not is irrelevant, but they're all walking there and your child will be there in that journey with them. The Sparks program is new, so we are launching it out to the public at a reduced price of $388 for the 2-day workshop. And over the 6 months, we charge either $1,088 or $2,088 for the $2,888 for the individual program. But we have something special today. Oh, just before that, I want to share with you statistics on the Light the Way workshop that we ran in January. 99% of the students said that the workshop helped them find their purpose. So it was crazily successful. And 88% of participants translated that crazy dream over into a plan with 3 goals. And 88% of the participants from that workshop highly recommended the program to their friends. So it was incredibly successful session. The next time that we're going to do this is on July the 29th and 30th. That's the end of this month. So mark that down. It's a Saturday and Sunday, 2 full days, 9 to 5 each day. Okay. So if you want to come on and give it a try, it's a Saturday and Sunday, 29th and 30th of July. And just for today, because I'm coming back to work with Signature Market and the nice guys here, we have a 50% off for anybody that signs up using this promo code that's exclusive to Signature Market. And I think it'll run for the next 24 hours only. So if you want to sign on, please do scan the QR code and sign up immediately. The other thing I want to share with everybody is we strongly believe in what we do. And we're not here to just take people's money. If anybody is not happy with the way that the program runs, or they're not getting any utility or value out of it, we offer 100% money back guarantee on the experience. We won't ask any questions. Just stop, let us know, and we'll offer everything back, because we want to make sure that the people we serve are really getting an impact out of this. Okay, well, that's it from me, folks. And really, thank you very much again for giving me an hour of your time to listen and to what I have to share with you. I really hope that you've picked up a couple of things about how to help your children with their sense of well-being and how to really fight back this monster that is mental unwellness that is hitting us in this generation. Thank you very much. And back over to you, Ariel.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vincent, for sharing so much. And I guess everyone really gained a lot from it. And I think it's to come back to the word, being supportive, for your children. Because they have a lot of things to take care of, maybe like studies and a lot of different things. So I think parents really play a big part in it. And what they really need is like someone to listen to them and be there for them. Okay, so now I will open the floor for Q&A. So let's see, do we have any questions, or anyone, you have any questions that you want to ask Dr. Vincent? Yeah, now is the time to ask questions. You guys can just leave it in the chat box, and then we will, look through it. Okay, so for the workshop is for children aged from 12 to 18 years old.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No worries, no worries.
Cheers.
Yeah, so for everyone information, the workshop that Dr. Vincent just mentioned, is for children range from 12 to 18 years old. All right. Okay, any questions? Anyone want to do your sharing as well, like share your thoughts? Anyone? Where will the workshop be held?
Oh, the workshop will be in the Mont Kiara area. We're just finalizing the location, but it's very likely to be in the Mont Kiara area. There's a place called the Arc in Publica. Yeah.
Do you have workshops like this for uni students?
Yes, we're actually looking to do that. We're quite a new organization, so we're starting for children at the moment, but we'll be shifting over to the uni side very soon. Just this workshop, particularly at the end of July, that's for the youth for now. And then we'll begin to move into the college sector very soon, because college kids really need this as well. Yeah. We haven't got a program for parents, Katrina. I'm so sorry. We haven't got that sorted out just as yet. Because I'm primarily an expert in education rather than parenting. So I focus there, but I'm happy to share more, and maybe we'll try and organize something. Thanks for that, Katrina. Chu, you asked for more details on the course, the workshop. So it's a physical thing. Why don't you just scan the QR code and then just fill in some details, and we'll be contacting you to fill you in on all the details that you want to find out about things like food and stuff like that as well. Yeah, and the QR code, the special offer is for 24 hours from right now. Yeah, So guys, sign on quickly. We do have a cap that's we're arriving at very soon, cap on the number of participants. So yeah, it's a first come, first serve thing.
Yeah, so everyone, yeah, just scan the QR code first if you're still considering.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no
It's better
worries.
to sign your name in first.
Yeah. Chop the place first. Okay, yeah, but no worries. We also include the QR code in our thank you email together with the recording. So if you want to rewatch the session, then yeah, you can rewatch it. Okay, we have a question here from, hold on. Okay, from Sharon. She's asking, what age group of youth is mental health issues most prevalent?
I don't have that data for you, Sharon. I was just thinking about it. I could guess, but I'd rather go for the facts. And I think there is an answer to that. I just don't have that right now. What I can tell you is that it's pretty badly. Mental health issues are badly underdiagnosed, particularly in Malaysia, in the under 18 category. So any information that we have statistics would be questionable because I'm not sure whether they're truly representative. Just highlighting the fact that things like suicide is criminalized in Malaysia, and the social stigma of going and getting yourself diagnosed is so incredible in Malaysia. Nobody has any real statistics that I think will be very reliable. Some others have tried to do some estimates, but those are estimates at best, frankly. I think what you said, the statistics will say will be that it's lower in the primary school arena, gets higher in the secondary school arena, and then highest over in the college arena. But the thing is that also follows the flow of willingness to be diagnosed, because college kids have that relative autonomy to go and visit a counselor by themselves, whereas the primary school kids, they don't. And secondary school kids are just somewhere in the middle. You can, I guess you could try and figure that out, what impact that would have. So I'm really sorry, Sharon, but I can't answer that with any definitive statement for you.
All right, thank you for the questions. Okay, what would be, okay, we have another question. What would be the subtle signs of mental health issues?
Well, so there's the clinical stuff, which I can tell you, which is, okay, I'm not going to use big words. I was going to start using anhedonia. Loss of interest in the things that they usually like. And that's the simplest way I can put it. So if your child likes football, all of a sudden he stops playing football, that's a huge sign to start picking up on. So please pay attention to that kind of thing. Eating as well is a nice indicator. If their intake suddenly changes or drops, that's an important thing to pick up as well. Then the obvious signs start coming in, like walking around with a grim face, and the way that they communicate, they're shutting down. Those are the easy ones. But generally, I tend to find that loss of interest is a very a good indicator. And then the food intake is also a very good indicator. So if your child likes bak kut teh, and then you give him bak kut teh and he doesn't want to eat anymore, that's a big sign to pick up from. Yeah, that would be my my suggestion there.
Okay, moving on to next, a question from Liana. She's asking, how could we persuade the kids who is already having a mental health issue into engaging into all the methods that you mentioned just now?
Yeah, if a child has a mental health issue, and I say this as an educator and as a parent as well, don't try and help your child find the sense of purpose straight away. The first thing that we need to do is make sure that the bleeding stops. If your child, let's just say, has depression, and I'll give you an example, he's cutting himself. That's a very common thing they start doing. They're cutting themselves. We need to deal with that one first. We need to get the professional help sorted out and seen. And we need to make sure that they are physically safe. So first step, work on that front. But while you're doing that, the way that you approach the whole scenario can be very, very helpful if you start with the right kinds of steps. So lay off the blame game. Why are you doing this? You're doing so many bad things to me. The guilt tripping, lay off that. I feel so bad when you do these sort of things. The judgment, why can't you be better like your brother? Johnny over there has the same kind of pressure as you, but he's not crying, is he? So making sure that we approach things properly can really help at the outset, rather than, oh, finally, when you want to talk to me, then you behave nicely towards me. So let's get the attitude right first. Warm, loving, tell them you love them. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Tell them you love them, lots of hugs, supportive, which is not judging, not telling them what to do, okay? And sorry, what was the last one? Warm, supportive. I have to actually go back on the stuff. What was it, the last word? I just can't seem to remember the word now. Stable, there we go. All right, so if they're shouting around the house, there's screaming happening, try and minimize that. Start there. So once you start with that sort of frame of mind to approach your child, then you can start working on, getting them out and having some fun, and the friendships. And of course, making sure that there's exercise and good nutrition. But first, step one, stop the bleeding. Make sure that there's no physical harm. And then two, make sure your mindset going into the whole thing is right. The words used over here in the family section are very helpful words to actually frame yourself around, and then work on the family. That would be my suggestion and sequence. I would leave purpose to the end, after you've sorted out a couple of the more dangerous issues first. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Winston. Okay, so I think yeah, that's all for our Q&A session. Okay, well, before everyone goes, yeah, just want to gather everyone for a group photo, shall we? Yeah, just switch on your camera and we'll take a group photo together. Yeah, and for those who would like to know more about the workshops, you guys can check out Salt and Light's social media platforms. I will paste the link in the chat box and also include them in the thank you email, so you guys can go check it out, okay? All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining and staying with us till the end. Oh, I saw someone joining with their kids as well.
Oh, that's a beauty, Stella.
Okay.
Hi. Hey, beautiful. I love your headband.
All right. So we'll do it this way. Later, in a count of three, then we'll just you can just do your favorite pose. It can be anything. All right. Yeah. If your kid is beside you, yeah, you can take a photo with them together as well. Okay, you guys ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you everyone for joining in. And yeah, once again, thank you, Dr. Winston, for the session tonight.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for becoming. Have a great evening, guys.
Yeah, have a great night. See you guys again.
Bye.